Jake Harrison stood in front of the big window on the spaceship Terra Nova. He watched the stars pass by as the ship moved through space. Jake was not like the other soldiers on the ship. He was a diplomat. His job was to learn about alien cultures and help humans make friends with other species in the galaxy. Jake was 32 years old and had brown hair and kind eyes. He had studied many different cultures on Earth before joining the space program. He was good at learning new languages and understanding how different people lived. That is why Captain Lisa Rodriguez picked him for special missions. The captain's voice came over the speaker. "Jake Harrison, please come to my office right away." Jake walked through the long halls of the spaceship. The Terra Nova was huge, with over 300 people living and working on it. They had been traveling through space for 2 years, meeting new alien species and learning about their worlds. When Jake reached the captain's office, he knocked on the door. "Come in," Captain Rodriguez said. Jake entered the room. Captain Rodriguez was a strong woman with black hair and serious eyes. She had been the captain of Terra Nova for 5 years. Behind her desk was a large screen showing a beautiful planet, with purple oceans and silver clouds. "Sit down, Jake," the captain said. "I have something very important to tell you." Jake sat in the chair across from her desk. "What is it, Captain?" "We just got a message from an alien species called the Zephyrians," she said. "They live on that planet you see behind me. It is called Ethros Prime." Jake looked at the planet on the screen. It was the most beautiful world he had ever seen. "What did they want?" "They invited us to a wedding," Captain Rodriguez said. "But not just any wedding. This is the wedding of their princess to a prince from another alien empire. This wedding is very important because it will bring peace between two powerful alien nations." Jake nodded. He understood that weddings could be political events, not just celebrations of love. "The Zephyrians have never invited humans to their planet before," the captain continued. "This is a great honor. But they only want to send one person from our ship." "Who are they sending?" Jake asked. Captain Rodriguez smiled. "You." Jake's mouth fell open. "Me? Why me?" "Because you are the best person we have for understanding alien cultures," she said. "The Zephyrians studied our records. They specifically and now asked for you because of your work with the Altarian traders last year." Jake remembered that mission. He had spent 3 months living with the Altarians, learning their customs and helping to set up trade agreements. It had been difficult but rewarding work. "What do I need to do?" Jake asked. "You will go to their planet as Earth's representative," Captain Rodriguez explained. "You will attend the wedding ceremonies and show respect for their culture. This could determine how the Zephyrians view all humans in the future." Jake felt nervous but excited. "When do I leave?" "Tomorrow morning," she said. "But first you need to learn about Zephyrian culture. I am sending you all the information we have gathered about them." That night, Jake stayed up late reading about the Zephyrians. They were tall beings, about 7 feet high with skin that looked like crystal. Their skin could glow with different colors when they felt strong emotions. They lived in cities that floated in the air using special technology. The Zephyrians were very old as a species. They had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. They valued tradition, honor, and family bonds above everything else. Their weddings were not simple ceremonies. They lasted for 3 days and involved many complex rituals. Jake learned that Princess Liralai was the only daughter of King Valdris. She was going to marry Prince Corvin from the Astral Confederation. This marriage would end a long conflict between the two alien empires and bring peace to their part of the galaxy. The next morning, Jake packed his best diplomatic clothes and boarded a small shuttle. Captain Rodriguez came to see him off. Remember, she said, you represent all of humanity. Be respectful, be careful, and try not to cause any trouble. I will do my best, Jake promised. The shuttle took Jake down to the surface of Ethros Prime. As they got closer to the planet, Jake could see the amazing floating cities. They looked like giant crystals hanging in the sky, connected by bridges of light. The shuttle landed at the Royal Palace, which was the largest floating structure Jake had ever seen. It was made of blue and white crystal that sparkled in the light of the planet's 3 suns. A tall Zephyrian was waiting for Jake when he stepped off the shuttle. The alien's skin was pale blue and had silver markings that glowed softly. He wore long robes that seemed to float around his body. "Welcome to Ethros Prime," the Zephyrian said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Thyros. I will be your guide during your stay here." Jake bowed slightly, as he had read was polite in Zephyrian culture. "Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here." Ambassador Thyros smiled. "King Valdris is eager to meet you. But first, let me show you to your rooms. The wedding ceremonies begin tomorrow, and there is much you must learn." As they walked through the palace halls, Jake was amazed by everything he saw. The walls were made of crystal that changed colors as they passed. Gardens floated in mid-air, with plants that glowed like stars. Zephyrian servants moved quietly through the halls, their skin flickering with soft light. "This is incredible," Jake said. "Our ancestors built this palace 3,000 years ago," Ambassador Thyros explained. "Each generation has added to its beauty." They reached Jake's room, which was larger than his entire quarters on the Terra Nova. The walls were transparent, giving him a view of the purple oceans far below. "Rest now," Ambassador Thyros said. "Tonight you will meet the royal family. Princess Lyralai is looking forward to meeting the first human to visit our world." After Ambassador Thyros left, Jake stood at the window looking out at the alien world. He felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Everything he did here could affect how aliens saw humans for years to come. He thought about Princess Lyralai. What would she be like? Was she happy about her wedding, or was this just a political arrangement? Jake had read that arranged marriages were common among Zephyrian royalty, but he wondered how the princess felt about marrying someone she might not love. As the day turned to night, Jake prepared for the most important diplomatic mission of his life. He had no idea that in 3 days everything would change in ways he could never imagine. That evening, Ambassador Thyros came to get Jake for dinner with the royal family. Jake had put on his best blue diplomatic suit and tried to remember everything he had learned about Zephyrian customs. "Are you ready to meet King Valdris?" Ambassador Thyros asked. "I think so," Jake said, though his heart was beating fast. They walked through the palace halls to a great dining room. The room was huge, with a ceiling that showed the stars above through clear crystal. A long table floated in the center of the room, surrounded by chairs that also floated in the air. King Valdris stood at the head of the table. He was the tallest Zephyrian Jake had seen, with golden skin that sparkled like metal. His eyes were bright blue, and he wore a crown made of floating crystals. "Your Majesty," Ambassador Thyros said, "this is Jake Harrison from Earth." Jake bowed as deeply as he could. "Your Majesty, I am honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me to your daughter's wedding." King Valdris smiled. "Welcome, Jake Harrison. We have heard many good things about humans. Please, sit and eat with us." Jake sat in one of the floating chairs. It felt strange at first. but then it adjusted to his body and became very comfortable. Other Zephyrians came into the room, all wearing beautiful robes and jewelry that glowed with soft light. Then Princess Lyrelei entered the room, and Jake's breath caught in his throat. She was the most beautiful being he had ever seen. Her skin was pale silver, and her hair looked like liquid starlight. Her eyes were deep purple, like the oceans of her world. But when Jake looked at her face, he saw sadness there, even though she was smiling. "Father," she said in a musical voice, "is this our guest from Earth?" "Yes, my daughter. This is Jake Harrison. He has come very far to celebrate your wedding." Princess Lyrelei walked over to Jake. He stood up quickly, not sure what he should do. She held out her hand to him. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Jake Harrison," she said. Jake took her hand gently. The moment their skin touched, something strange happened. Princess Lyrelei's skin began to glow with a soft golden light. Her eyes went wide with surprise. Around the room, the other Zephyrians gasped. Ambassador Thyros dropped his cup, and it floated away across the room. "What just happened?" Jake asked, still holding the princess's hand. Princess Lyrelei pulled her hand away quickly. Her skin was still glowing, but now there were silver patterns moving across it like flowing water. King Valdris stepped forward, his expression serious. "Ambassador Thyros, did the human just perform the recognition of souls?" Ambassador Thyros looked worried. It appears so, Your Majesty." Jake looked confused. "I'm sorry, I don't understand. What is the recognition of souls?" Princess Lyrelei spoke softly. "When two Zephyrians touch, and their souls recognize each other as compatible, their skin glows. It is the first step in the bonding process that leads to marriage." Jake felt his face turn red. "Oh no, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. I was just trying to be polite." But King Valdris was not angry. Instead, he looked thoughtful. "Interesting. Our legends say that the recognition of souls cannot happen by accident. The spirits of our ancestors must have guided this moment. During dinner, Jake tried to be very careful about what he did. He listened as the Zephyrians talked about the upcoming wedding. Princess Lyrelei sat across from him, but she barely spoke. When she did talk, Jake noticed that her voice sounded sad. After dinner, Ambassador Thyros took Jake aside. "We have a problem," he said quietly. "What happened tonight was not just a greeting. In our culture, the recognition of souls means that two people are meant to be together. Princess Lyrelei is supposed to marry Prince Corvin tomorrow. But now, everyone saw her soul recognize yours." Jake felt worried. "What does this mean? Will it cause problems for the wedding?" "I do not know," Ambassador Thyros said. "This has never happened before, especially not with someone from another species. King Valdris will need to think about what to do." The next morning, Jake woke up early. He looked out his window at the beautiful floating gardens of the palace. He was supposed to spend the day learning about the wedding ceremonies, but he could not stop thinking about Princess Lyrelei and the sadness in her eyes. Ambassador Thyros came to get him for breakfast. "King Valdris wants to speak with you privately," he said. They went to the king's private study, a room filled with floating books and star charts. King Valdris was there, along with Princess Lyrelei. "Jake Harrison," the king said, "my daughter, has asked to speak with you about what happened last night. I will allow this, but Ambassador Thyros must be present." Princess Lyrelei looked at Jake with her purple eyes. "I need to tell you something about our wedding customs. When two Zephyrians decide to marry, they go through 3 bonding ceremonies. The recognition of souls is the first, the unity of hearts is the second, the joining of spirits is the third. After all three ceremonies, the two people are bonded forever. Their souls become connected, and they can feel each other's emotions no matter how far apart they are. Jake nodded. That sounds beautiful. It is, she said, when both people choose it freely. But my marriage to Prince Corvin is arranged. Our souls have never recognized each other. We will go through the bonding ceremonies, but there will be no real connection between us. Jake could see the pain in her eyes. You don't want to marry him. I will do my duty, she said firmly. My marriage will bring peace between our empires. Many lives will be saved, but... She stopped talking and looked away. But what? Jake asked gently. But when your soul recognized mine last night, I felt something I have never felt before. For just a moment, I understood what it would be like to marry someone my heart chose, instead of someone chosen for me. King Valdris spoke up. This puts us in a difficult position. The wedding must happen tomorrow, but the recognition of souls is sacred to our people. They will expect some explanation. Later that day, Jake watched the pre-wedding ceremonies from a special platform built for honored guests. The palace was decorated with floating flowers that changed colors like rainbows. Musicians played instruments that sounded like singing. Crystals. Princess Lyrelei appeared in a dress made of what looked like captured starlight. She was beautiful, but Jake could see that she was not happy. She went through all the ceremony movements perfectly, but there was no joy in her face. Prince Corvin arrived in the afternoon with a large group of followers. He was tall and handsome, with dark blue skin and silver hair. But when Jake watched him, he noticed that Prince Corvin never looked at Princess Lyrelei with love or even kindness. He treated her like a business partner, not like someone he wanted to spend his life with. During the evening feast, Jake sat at a table with other important guests. He watched as Princess Lyrelei and Prince Corvin performed a traditional dance. It was supposed to be romantic, but Jake could see that they barely touched each other and never looked into each other's eyes. After the dance, there was a ceremony where the guests were supposed to bless the couple. Jake was not sure what to do, but Ambassador Thyros told him to follow the other guests. When it was Jake's turn, he approached Princess Lyrelei and Prince Corvin. He was supposed to touch their hands and say a blessing for their marriage. But when he reached for Princess Lyrelei's hand, the same thing happened as the night before. Her skin began to glow with golden light, but this time it was brighter. The glow spread up her arm and across her chest. Prince Corvin stepped back in surprise. Around the room, the Zephyrian guests began to whisper. "What is happening?" Prince Corvin demanded. Ambassador Thyros rushed forward. "It appears that Jake Harrison and Princess Lyrelei have completed the second bonding ceremony, the unity of hearts." Jake felt confused and worried. He had not meant to do anything except offer his blessing. But now he had accidentally performed 2 of the 3 bonding ceremonies with the princess who was supposed to marry someone else tomorrow. King Valdris stood up from his throne. His voice carried across the silent room. "This is a sign from our ancestors that cannot be ignored. According to our ancient laws, when 2 people complete the recognition of souls and the unity of hearts, they have begun the sacred bonding process." Prince Corvin's face turned dark with anger. "This human has interfered with our alliance. This cannot be allowed." But Princess Lyrelei stepped forward. For the first time since Jake had met her, she looked confident and strong. "The bonding ceremonies cannot be faked or forced. If my soul has recognized Jake Harrison's, Then perhaps the spirits are trying to tell us something. Jake realized that his simple mission to attend a wedding had become something much more complicated. He had accidentally begun a marriage bonding with an alien princess, and now he was in the middle of a diplomatic crisis that could affect the peace between two powerful empires. The great hall fell silent after Princess Lyrelay spoke. Everyone stared at Jake, who felt like he wanted to disappear. He had come here to represent humanity at a wedding, and now he had accidentally started marriage ceremonies with the bride. Prince Corvin stepped forward, his dark blue skin flickering with angry red lights. "This is unacceptable! I traveled across the galaxy to marry Princess Lyrelay. Our marriage will unite two great empires. You cannot let one human destroy everything." King Valdris raised his hand for silence. "Prince Corvin, I understand your anger, but our laws are ancient and sacred. The bonding ceremonies cannot happen by accident. If they have occurred, there must be a reason." Jake found his voice. "Your Majesty, I never meant for this to happen. I was only trying to show respect for your customs. If there is a way to undo what I have done, please tell me." Ambassador Thyros stepped closer to the king and whispered something in his ear. King Valdris nodded slowly. "There is only one way to stop a bonding process that has begun," the king announced. "Either Princess Lyrelay must complete the third ceremony with Prince Corvin, or Jake Harrison must face Prince Corvin in the trial by elements." "What is the trial by elements?" Jake asked. "It is an ancient test," Princess Lyrelay explained. "Two people who claim the right to marry the same person must prove their worth through 3 challenges. The winner earns the right to complete the bonding ceremonies." Prince Corvin smiled coldly. "I accept this trial. A human cannot possibly defeat me." Jake looked around the room. All the Zephyrians were watching him, waiting to see what he would do. He thought about Captain Rodriguez and his mission to represent humanity well. He thought about Princess Lyrelay and the sadness in her eyes when she talked about her arranged marriage. "I accept the trial," Jake said. The crowd gasped. Princess Lyrelay looked at him with surprise and something that might have been hope. "The trial will take place tomorrow morning," King Valdris declared. "Both contestants will have tonight to prepare." As the crowd began to leave the hall, Princess Lyrelay approached Jake. "Why did you accept? You could have apologized and left this planet. No one would have blamed you." Jake looked into her purple eyes. "Because you don't want to marry him, and I think everyone deserves the chance to choose their own path in life." She touched his arm gently, and her skin glowed softly. "You might die in this trial. Prince Corvin is a trained warrior and a master of Zephyrian combat arts." "Maybe," Jake said, "but at least you'll know that someone fought for your right to choose." That night, Ambassador Thyros came to Jake's room with books about the trial by elements. "You need to understand what you are facing," he said seriously. "The first challenge tests physical strength and endurance. The second tests intelligence and problem-solving. The third tests mental strength and spiritual power." Jake read the books until late into the night. The trial by elements had been used for thousands of years to settle disputes about marriage rights. Warriors, scholars, and princes had all faced these challenges. Most had succeeded, but some had died trying. The next morning, Jake put on a simple fighting outfit that Ambassador Thyros had brought him. His stomach felt nervous, but his mind was clear. He had decided to do this, and he would give everything he had. The trial would take place in the ancient arena at the center of the palace. The arena was a large, circular space surrounded by floating platforms where thousands of Zephyrians could watch. Jake had never seen so many aliens in one place. Their skin flickered with excitement and curiosity. King Valdris sat on a throne that floated above the arena. Princess Lyralai sat beside him, wearing a white dress that seemed to be made of clouds. Prince Corvin stood on one side of the arena in black armor that sparkled with energy. "Let the trial by elements begin," King Valdris announced, for the first challenge. The arena floor changed into a landscape of floating rocks and changing gravity fields. Sometimes Jake felt heavy, as if he weighed twice as much as normal. Sometimes he felt light, as if he might float away. "The first challenge is the test of stone," the king explained. "Both contestants must reach the crystal at the center of the arena. The first to touch it wins this challenge." Prince Corvin immediately activated his armor's gravity control system and began flying toward the center. Jake had no such technology. He had to jump from rock to rock, using his human reflexes and balance. The changing gravity made it very difficult. One moment Jake was jumping normally, the next moment he was falling faster than expected or floating higher than he meant to go. But humans had learned to adapt to many different environments, and Jake used this skill now. Prince Corvin was faster with his technology, but he made a mistake. He relied too much on his armor and not enough on his natural abilities. When the gravity field suddenly reversed, his armor could not adjust quickly enough. He was thrown against a floating rock and stunned. Jake used this chance to reach the crystal first. His natural balance and quick thinking had won the first challenge. The Zephyrian crowd cheered. They respected skill and bravery, even from an alien. For the second challenge, the arena became a room filled with floating puzzles and mathematical problems. Both contestants had to solve complex equations that controlled energy bridges across a deep pit. "The test of mind," King Valdris announced. "You must use intelligence and wisdom to cross the void." Prince Corvin was very smart and knew advanced Zephyrian mathematics. He began solving the puzzles quickly, creating bridges of light that carried him across the pit. Jake looked at the same puzzles, but they were based on Zephyrian science that he did not understand. He could not solve them the same way Prince Corvin was doing, but Jake had learned to think differently than most people. Instead of trying to solve the complex equations, he looked for patterns. He noticed that the energy bridges flickered in, a rhythm. He realized that he could time his jumps to use Prince Corvin's bridges just after the prince created them. It was risky, but Jake jumped at exactly the right moments, using the bridges that Prince Corvin had made. He reached the other side just seconds after the prince. "A tie," King Valdris declared. Both contestants showed wisdom, though in different ways. The third challenge was the most dangerous. The arena became dark, filled with swirling mists that played tricks on the mind. "The test of spirit," the king announced. "You must face your deepest fears and find the truth hidden in the darkness. But be warned, this challenge can break minds that are not strong enough." Jake and Prince Corvin entered the mist from opposite sides. Immediately, Jake began to see things that were not real. He saw Captain Rodriguez telling him that he had failed his mission. He saw his family on Earth disappointed in him. He saw Princess Lyralai marrying Prince Corvin and forgetting about him forever. But Jake had learned something important during his years as a diplomat. He had learned that fear often lies to you. He focused on what he knew was true. He was Jake Harrison. He was fighting for Princess Lyralai's right to choose, and he would not give up. As he walked through the mist, pushing away the false images, He began to hear Prince Corvin's voice. The prince was talking to himself, but something was wrong with what he was saying. "Must complete the mission," Prince Corvin was saying. "Must marry the princess. Must gain access to Zephyrian technology. Must report back to the council." Jake realized that Prince Corvin was not talking about love or marriage. He was talking about a mission. Jake moved closer, staying hidden in the mist. "The mind control is working perfectly," Prince Corvin continued. "Soon the Astral Confederation will have everything it needs to conquer the Zephyrian Empire. The princess will never know that her husband is a spy." Jake felt shocked. Prince Corvin was not just an arranged marriage partner. He was a spy sent to steal Zephyrian secrets and help destroy their empire. The marriage was not about peace at all. It was about conquest. Jake knew he had to get this information to King Valdris, but first he had to complete the challenge. He pushed through the remaining mist and found the glowing orb that marked the center of the test. Prince Corvin arrived at the same time, but he looked confused and angry. "Where am I? What happened to my mission briefing?" Jake realized that the test of spirit had broken the mind control that was affecting Prince Corvin. The prince was remembering things he was not supposed to remember. "Prince Corvin," Jake said carefully, "do you remember agreeing to marry Princess Lyrelai?" Prince Corvin held his head in his hands. I remember being told I had to marry her, but I don't remember wanting to. I remember other people making the decision for me. I remember machines attached to my head, changing my thoughts." Both contestants had completed the test, but something more important had happened. The truth about the arranged marriage had been revealed. Jake helped Prince Corvin out of the arena and immediately asked to speak with King Valdris privately. In the royal chamber, with Princess Lyrelai and Ambassador Thyros present, Jake explained what he had heard in the mist. Prince Corvin, his mind now clear from the control devices, confirmed Jake's story. "I was sent here to be a spy," he admitted, sadly. "My government wanted me to marry Princess Lyrelai so I could learn your military secrets and find weaknesses in your defenses. I thought I wanted this marriage, but those were not my real thoughts." King Valdris looked furious. "The Astral Confederation has betrayed." After Prince Corvin revealed the truth about the spy mission, the royal palace was in chaos. King Valdris called for an emergency meeting with his advisors. Ambassador Thyros rushed to send messages to other planets, warning them about the Astral Confederation's betrayal. Jake sat in his room, trying to understand what had happened. He had come to a wedding as a guest, and now he had helped stop a war before it could begin. But there was still one big problem that no one was talking about. Princess Lyrelai knocked on his door. When Jake opened it, he saw that she had changed, from her formal wedding dress into simple clothes. She looked tired but also relieved. "May I come in?" she asked. "Of course," Jake said, stepping aside. She walked to the window that looked out over the floating gardens. "You saved my people today," she said quietly. "If I had married Prince Corvin, he would have learned all our secrets. My father's advisors think the Astral Confederation was planning to attack us within a year. I'm glad we found out the truth," Jake said. "But what happens now?" Princess Lyrelai turned to face him. "That is what I came to talk about. Jake, we have completed 2 of the 3 bonding ceremonies. In Zephyrian law, that means we are almost married." Jake felt his heart beat faster. "What does that mean exactly?" "It means that my soul has recognized yours as a perfect match," she said. "It means that when we touched, our spirits called to each other across the differences between our species. It means that I can feel your emotions even when you are not near me. Jake thought about this. Can you really feel what I'm feeling? She nodded. Right now, you are nervous but also happy. You are worried about doing the right thing, but you are not sorry that the bonding ceremonies happened. Jake was amazed. She was exactly right about how he felt. There is something else, Princess Lyrelai continued. In our culture, when two people begin the bonding process, they must either complete it with the third ceremony or break it by performing a separation ritual. We cannot stay in between. What would happen if we performed the separation ritual? Jake asked. We would both forget that our souls ever recognized each other, she said sadly. The connection would be broken forever, and we could never bond with each other again. Jake looked at her beautiful face and realized something important. Over the past 3 days, he had not just been helping her avoid an unwanted marriage. He had been falling in love with her. She was smart, brave, and kind. She cared about her people, but also wanted the freedom to make her own choices. And what would happen if we completed the third ceremony? He asked. We would be married forever, she said. Our souls would be connected across any distance. We would share our emotions and thoughts. In your human terms, I suppose you could say we would become soulmates in the most literal sense. Jake walked to the window and stood beside her. Princess, can I ask you something personal? Please call me Lyrelai, and yes, you can ask me anything. Do you want to complete the bonding ceremonies because you have feelings for me, or because you want to avoid being forced into another arranged marriage? Lyrelai was quiet for a long moment. When I was young, I dreamed of finding someone who would love me for myself, not for my title or my father's kingdom. I thought that would never happen. Then you came here, and when our souls recognized each other, I felt something I had never felt before. What did you feel? Jake asked softly. I felt like I had found the other half of myself, she said. When you touch me, I feel complete. When you are near me, I feel like I can be myself instead of just a princess. When you stood up to Prince Corvin to defend my right to choose, I knew that you truly cared about my happiness. Jake turned to face her. Lyrelai, I have feelings. For you too. But I'm just a human diplomat. I don't know anything about being married to an alien princess. I don't know if I could live on your world forever, or if you could be happy with someone so different from yourself. She smiled and touched his hand gently. Their skin began to glow where they touched. Jake, do you know what the recognition of souls really means? Tell me, he said. It means that despite all our differences, different species, different worlds, different cultures, our souls are compatible at the deepest level. It means that we can learn to understand each other better than two people from the same species who do not have this connection. Jake felt the warmth of her touch and the glow of their bonded souls. But what about practical things? Where would we live? What would I do here? What would your people think about you marrying a human? Before Lyrelai could answer, Ambassador Thyros knocked urgently on the door. Princess! Jake! King Valdris wants to see you both immediately. Something important has happened. They hurried to the throne room, where they found King Valdris meeting with a hologram of Captain Rodriguez from the Terra Nova. Jake, Captain Rodriguez said when she saw him. I'm glad you're safe. We just received a message from Earth Command about the situation there. What kind of message? Jake asked. King Valdris spoke up. Captain Rodriguez, Please explain to Jake what Earth Command has decided. Captain Rodriguez smiled. Jake, your actions have created an unprecedented opportunity for human-Zephyrian relations. Earth Command has authorized me to offer you a new position. What position? Jake asked, confused. They want you to become Earth's first permanent ambassador to the Zephyrian Empire, she said. You would live here on Ethros Prime and help establish ongoing diplomatic and cultural exchange between our species. Jake felt shocked. But I'm not qualified to be a full ambassador. I'm just a cultural attaché. King Valdris stepped forward. Jake Harrison, over the past 3 days, you have shown more diplomatic skill than many career ambassadors. You exposed a plot against my kingdom, defended my daughter's rights, and proved that humans and Zephyrians can work together successfully. There's more, Captain Rodriguez continued. Earth Command has also approved cultural exchange programs, joint research, projects, and trade agreements with the Zephyrian Empire. Your marriage to Princess Lyralay would be the foundation of a new era of cooperation between our species. Jake looked at Lyralay in surprise. You told them about the bonding ceremonies? She nodded. My father contacted Earth Command to ask if humanity would accept a marriage between a human and a Zephyrian. Their answer was very positive. King Valdris smiled. In fact, they seemed very excited about the possibilities. Your Captain Rodriguez said that humans have always been curious about other cultures, and this would be the ultimate cultural exchange. Jake felt overwhelmed by all this information. So Earth Command wants me to marry Princess Lyralay and become an ambassador? They want you to make your own choice, Captain Rodriguez said. But they think both decisions would benefit humanity and help build a strong alliance with the Zephyrian Empire. Lyralay stepped closer to Jake. Jake, I need to tell you something else. This morning, after Prince Corvin revealed the truth about his mission, my father's advisors analyzed the political situation. The Astral Confederation will probably try to find other ways to attack us now that their spy mission failed. What does that mean? Jake asked. King Valdris answered. It means that the Zephyrian Empire needs allies. An alliance with humanity would strengthen both our peoples. And a marriage between my daughter and a human ambassador would be the strongest possible symbol of that alliance. Jake understood what they were saying. His personal choice about marrying Lyralay would also affect the politics between different alien empires. But, King Valdris continued, I will not force my daughter into another arranged marriage even if it would benefit our empire. She has the right to choose freely, and so do you. Jake looked around the room at all the people watching him. Captain, Rodriguez was waiting for his decision. King Valdris and Ambassador Thyros were watching carefully. But most importantly, Princess Lyralay was looking at him with hope and love in her purple eyes. Can I have some time to think about this? Jake asked. Of course, King Valdris said. But the third bonding ceremony must take place tomorrow if you choose to complete it. Zephyrian souls cannot remain partially bonded for more than 5 days without causing harm to both people. That night, Jake walked alone in the floating gardens of the palace. The plants glowed softly around him, and the 3 moons of Ethros Prime shone down through the crystal dome above. He thought about his life on Earth and his career in the space program. He thought about his family and friends back home. He thought about the mission he had been given and how much it had changed. Most of all, he thought about Lyralay and the way he felt when she was near him. In just 3 days, she had become the most important person in his life. The idea of performing the separation ritual and forgetting their connection forever made him feel sick, but the idea of staying on an alien world forever, married to a princess and responsible for relations between two species also felt overwhelming. As he walked, Jake realized that Princess Lyrelei had found him in the garden. She appeared from behind a cluster of glowing flowers, wearing a simple dress that sparkled like stars. "I could feel that you were troubled," she said. "The partial bonding allows me to sense your strongest emotions." "I'm sorry if I worried you," Jake said. "You don't need to apologize for having complicated feelings," she said. "This is a big decision for both of us." They sat together on a bench that floated near a... The next morning, Jake woke up with a clear mind and a peaceful heart. He had made his decision during the night, and he felt good about it. He put on his best clothes and went to find King Valdris. He found the king in his private study reading reports about the political situation with the Astral Confederation. "Your Majesty," Jake said, "I would like to speak with you about the bonding ceremonies." King Valdris looked up from his reading. "Have you made your decision, Jake Harrison?" "Yes, I have," Jake said. "But first, I want to make sure you understand something. I am not choosing to marry Princess Lyrelei because of politics or diplomacy. I am choosing to marry her because I love her and want to spend my life with her." The king smiled. "That is the only reason I would allow the marriage to happen. My daughter deserves to be loved, not used for political purposes. I also want to accept the position as Earth's ambassador to your empire," Jake continued. "But I want to do it the right way. I need to learn your laws, your history, and your customs properly. I want to be a good ambassador, not just someone who accidentally ended up in the job." "Wise words," King Valdris said. "We will arrange for you to study with our best teachers. Ambassador Thyros will help you learn everything you need to know." "There is one more thing," Jake said. "I want Princess Lyrelei to be my partner in the ambassador work, not just my wife. She understands both cultures now, and she would be very good at helping humans and Zephyrians work together." King Valdris looked pleased. "My daughter has always been intelligent and capable. It would be good for her to have important work to do, not just royal ceremonies." "So you approve of our marriage?" Jake asked. "I approve of my daughter's happiness," the king said, "and you make her happier than I have seen her in years." That afternoon, the third bonding ceremony took place in the royal temple. It was a beautiful building made entirely of crystal that focused the light of the three suns into amazing patterns of color. Princess Lyrelei wore a dress that seemed to be made of liquid moonlight. Her hair was decorated with crystals that floated around her head like tiny stars. Jake wore formal Zephyrian robes that had been specially made for him, decorated with symbols representing both Earth and Aethros Prime. The ceremony was attended by hundreds of Zephyrians, as well as Captain Rodriguez and several other humans from the Terra Nova. Even Prince Corvin was there, finally free from the mind control and grateful to Jake for helping him discover the truth. The ceremony itself was unlike anything Jake had ever experienced. Ambassador Thyros, acting as the spiritual guide, explained each step to Jake in his own language while performing the traditional rituals. "The joining of spirits is the final step," Ambassador Thyros said. "When you and Princess Lyrelei touch hands and speak the bonding words, your souls will become permanently connected. You will share emotions, thoughts, and dreams for the rest of your lives." Jake looked at Lyrelei, who was glowing softly with anticipation. "Are you ready?" he asked her. "I have been ready since the moment our souls first recognized each other," she said. They joined hands in the center of the temple. Immediately, both of their bodies began to glow with brilliant golden light. The light grew brighter and brighter until it filled the entire temple. Jake felt something amazing happening inside his mind. He could suddenly feel Lorelai's emotions as clearly as his own. Her love for him was like warm sunlight filling his heart. Her joy was like music in his thoughts. Her hopes and dreams for their future together became his hopes and dreams, too. At the same time, he could feel her experiencing his emotions, his love for her, his determination to protect her, his excitement about their new life together. All of it flowed from his mind into hers. I, Jake Harrison of Earth, bond my spirit to yours forever, he said in Zephyrian, having practiced the words many times. I, Princess Lorelei of Ethros Prime, bond my spirit to yours forever, she replied. The golden light exploded outward from their joined hands, washing over everyone in the temple. For a moment, all the witnesses could feel the love and connection between Jake and Lorelei. When the light faded, Jake and Lorelei were married. Their souls were bonded permanently, and they could feel each other's presence even when they were apart. King Valdris stepped forward with a smile. I present to you Ambassador Jake Harrison and Ambassador Lorelei Harrison, representatives of the new alliance between Earth and the Zephyrian Empire. The crowd cheered. Captain Rodriguez had tears in her eyes as she congratulated Jake. Prince Corvin shook Jake's hand and apologized again for the trouble his government had caused. After the ceremony, there was a great celebration that lasted until late into the night. Jake and Lorelei danced together, their souls perfectly in harmony. When they touched, their skin glowed with soft light, showing everyone the strength of their bond. During the celebration, King Valdris made an important announcement. From this day forward, Ethros Prime will have an embassy where humans can come to learn about our culture. Ambassador Jake Harrison and Ambassador Lorelei Harrison will oversee programs for cultural exchange, joint research projects, and friendship between our peoples. Captain Rodriguez also had news to share. Earth Command has approved the construction of a permanent space station in this system. It will serve as a meeting place for humans and Zephyrians to work together on projects that will benefit both species. As the celebration continued, Jake and Lorelei stepped out onto a private balcony to look at the stars. They could see the Terra Nova in orbit above them, and beyond that, the vast galaxy full of other worlds and other species. Do you think we made the right choice? Jake asked, holding his wife close. Lorelei smiled and touched his face gently. Through their bonded souls, he could feel her certainty and happiness. Jake, 3 days ago, I thought my life was over before it had really begun. Tonight, I feel like everything is just starting. What do you mean? He asked. I mean that we have the chance to build something completely new, she said. Not just a marriage between two people, but a bridge between two species. We can help humans and Zephyrians learn from each other and become stronger together. Jake looked out at the stars and thought about the future. It won't be easy. There will probably be other governments like the Astral Confederation that don't want humans and Zephyrians to be allies. Then we will prove them wrong, Lorelei said confidently. We will show the galaxy that different species can work together, love each other, and create something beautiful. Over the following months, Jake and Lorelei worked together to establish the new embassy programs. Humans came to Ethros Prime to study Zephyrian science and culture. Zephyrians visited the Terra Nova and other human ships to learn about Earth and its people. The cultural exchange programs were very successful. Human scientists learned new technologies from the Zephyrians, while Zephyrian artists were inspired by human creativity and music. Children from both species began learning each other's languages and becoming friends across the vast distances of space. Jake proved to be an excellent ambassador. His experience with many different cultures helped him understand what humans and Zephyrians needed to know about each other. Lyrelay was equally talented, using her royal education and natural intelligence to solve problems and create new opportunities for cooperation. Their marriage became a symbol of hope throughout the galaxy. Other species began to see that different peoples could work together instead of fighting or fearing each other. Even some members of the Astral Confederation began to question their government's aggressive policies. 1 year after their wedding, Jake and Lyrelay stood in the same garden where they had first talked about their feelings for each other. Lyrelay was expecting their first child, a baby that would be part human and part Zephyrian, the first of its kind. "Do you ever miss your old life on Earth?" Lyrelay asked, her hand resting on her growing belly. Jake felt her emotions through their bond, and knew that she was not worried, just curious. "Sometimes I miss my family and friends," he said honestly. "But this is my home now. You are my home." "And do you ever regret coming to that wedding?" she asked with a smile. Jake laughed. "Coming to your wedding was supposed to be a simple diplomatic mission. Instead, it became the most important day of my life." "Mine too," Lyrelay said. "Who would have thought that a human accidentally performing our marriage rituals would lead to all of this?" They looked out over the floating gardens where human and Zephyrian children were playing together, learning each other's games and creating new ones. In the distance, they could see the new space station where scientists and diplomats from both species worked side by side. "I think," Jake said, "that sometimes the best things happen when we're open to possibilities we never imagined." Lyrelay leaned against him, and their souls shared a moment of perfect contentment. "I love you, Ambassador Harrison." "I love you too, Ambassador Harrison," Jake replied, as the 3 sons of Ethros Prime sat behind the Crystal Mountains. Jake reflected on how much his life had changed. He had come to an alien wedding as a visitor and ended up married to the king's daughter. But more than that, he had helped create a new kind of future where different species could choose cooperation over conflict, love over fear, and hope over suspicion. Their story would be told for generations as an example of what was possible when people went